Hello lads and ladies, Brad the Guitologist here. In a previous video I showed the repair and modification of a 1976 electro-harmonix Big Muff. The owner had been complaining about low output and no output, and I was able to finally track that down after a lot of modifications and hair pulling. But along the way I decided I also wanted to clone this pedal. I acquired the exact clipping diodes that were used in the original pedal, and I also realized I had some transistors in my current stash that were kind of close to the originals as well. So in this video we're going to make a knock-up kind of rough and tumble clone of this 1976 Big Muff fuzz. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, so just like we did with the Muff fuzz when we had that Muff fuzz here on the bench, I'm going to not only repair this fuzz, but I'm going to also try to build one while I'm at it. So I've got this little housing. You can see I've already rustled up all the parts I think I need out of my stash. I've already started as well. I've got this little empty pedal box. I'm not even sure what was in this. It looked like just a bunch of nonsense was in here. So I've stripped it all out, and I'm starting to wire up. Hopefully I've got enough room on this. I think I'm going to have room to get everything I need on this board. At least that's what I'm hoping. So I've got 4, what are these? So these are the BC 549s that I've got on here populated already, and this is the transistor that I replaced the bad one with. So we're gonna see what we can do with making a BC 549 Big Muff right here on this board, and I'm gonna do just a couple of modifications from the old one. I'm not gonna use a switch like they have on the old one for on and off. I'm actually just gonna use I'm going to make it switchable. Whenever you plug something in, it's going to connect the ground for the power. So we'll do it that way instead, which is a little bit more of a modern kind of an idea. But hopefully we can get this thing all built into this little housing. So yeah, why the hell not? Let's build one of these while we're at it. I mean, at least we have something to reference. There are plenty of good reference materials online as well. I'm going to use this schematic. It's very easy to read. Has all the sections kind of broken down. Obviously this isn't printed in color like the one online, but it's still going to be easier to read like this. So I'm going to go ahead and start populating this board, and we'll see if we can make one that works. Okay, a little partial way update here. I'm just kind of going slowly and doing this a little bit at a time. It's kind of relaxing. You know, it's like paint by numbers. There's not a lot to think about. The only stage at which you have to think about anything is when you start testing it and making sure that everything's going to be working properly. But you can see it's coming along, and I'm basically just going through the circuit, starting at the input over here and just checking off when I put one of these in, and keeping my ground side separate from my positive side on the power. So yeah, just trying to keep everything straight as I go through, and I'm just basically, like I said, just going through one part at a time. So we'll see how it goes. For now, what I'm doing is I'm leaving the I'm leaving at least one resistor out for so I can come back and fine-tune the biasing. I probably would have done better to leave either this one out or maybe this one out, but I think this will do. I'll leave this one right here out, and that's going to leave me some room to go up or down and just kind of fine-tune in the bias of this tube, and I think that is the way to go for now. I'm also leaving, obviously, I can't wire up the sustain control really yet until I get it in the housing, and I'm probably gonna have to cock these sideways, because when this goes in here, it's gonna fit in like this, and you can see I'm not gonna be wiring this direct, so I'm probably gonna turn these to the side and then run the wires down to the pots like that. So that's kind of the plan for now, and you can see it's gonna turn out okay, I think. So we're gonna have basically you know, coupling cap into the base, coupling cap into the base, coupling cap into the base. It'll kind of turn out like that, so it'll at least have some kind of logical flow. You should be able to at least look at the circuit and see where things are going and what they're coming from. Okay, so here is the nearly finished board. I've gotten pretty much everything soldered on there, with the exception of a few parts that I'm going to withhold until time to do the final biasing for each stage. So there's a few resistors that are not on there. You can see by the schematic. The reason I'm withholding these resistors, R22, R21, R10, R4, is for biasing purposes. Also, I don't have the 3 pots in quite yet. And I went ahead and left this one out of this voltage divider network over down here too on this final stage. I'll do some checks. Bust out the decade box again when I get this close to being finished. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up the power to it. Here's the game plan. I hook up the power and just go through one stage at a time. So I will bias this stage, put the resistor in, put the sustain pot in, move down, test this stage for bias, put the resistor in, and then and move down as I go, starting from the input. I think it turned out okay for the most part. It's not sloppy. I wouldn't call it sloppy work. I don't know that it's necessarily my best work, but I have done worse. I did not follow the layout of the original at all, really, with the exception of putting the transistors in a line and kind of going from that. I did braid these wires, as you can see. They're not going to be exactly like this in the final thing. This pot will be over here on this side. I did kind of put them on the correct side, though, and then this one's going to be straight up and down, I think, in the inside of the unit. But almost there. Okay. Desk is a bit of a mess, but here's the exciting part where we start to see some results. I've got the power supply plugged in over here. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on, feed 9 volts into this circuit. I have not yet gotten the full power circuit worked out, but I'll get that soon. But I do have most of the pedal wired up with the exception of some of the biasing resistors. We're going to use a resistance box here. Try to dial in some of the resistances that we need. Okay, the first one that we're looking at is R22 on the schematic, and it is supposed to be 120 ohms, but we will see how that works out here. Basically come out of the box, or will come off of the pedal, go into the box, and then back where that resistance is supposed to end up. Let's get a good place to clip on here. All right. And that is supposed to go to ground, so we will clip it here onto ground. All right, so here's what we have going so far. If we look up here on the scope, feeding a 1 kilohertz sine wave into this pedal. Here's the input. Okay, so that's the wave we got going in. Here's the wave as it appears on the board for the first time. Then it goes to here through a cap. And on the other side of that cap, of course, it's going to be a little bit diminished. Let me see if I can get a good connection here. Because of the flux that's in the solder, sometimes it's kind of hard to get a decent connection on some of these. Yeah, I don't know what's up with that. Maybe Oh, I know why. The switch isn't on. I think that's probably why. Or maybe not. The switch was already on. Okay, so there it is. Right there. That should Why isn't it appearing on the other side of that? I don't know. It was a minute ago. Huh. Okay. Okay, there we have an amplified signal. There's a smaller signal, there's a bigger signal, and it is amplified. That's on the collector of that first stage. Alright, so there's what's at the base. You have to ignore some of the noise. There's a lot of noise on that. It's real fuzzy and there's a lot of noise. I think that's only because of what we got, the power and everything. It's just out here open on the desk at the moment. Okay, that is diminishing. That's growing. Growing, 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 growing. Looks like it's still growing. That's a good looking signal coming off of that. This has got some dead spots on this box, so I need to do something about that later on. Yeah, I think 150 is going to do it. 120 ohms is what it calls for. I think that's going to be right about what we need. That's at 150. 68's even closer than the 150, so that's 68. Now, you know what? I'm going to go with the 120, as it says on the schematic. So we'll go ahead and pop that 120 in there on that spot, and then we'll move right down the line. Okay, so there's that one down. Now we need to move down the line. So we've got that 120. Now we need to come over here to this R21, which is coming off the next emitter. And that one's calling for a 150. I need to clean up this desk. It's an absolute disaster. All right. Okay, now let's go through. There's what we've got coming in to the board. That's coming out of the first stage. Looking good there. It's coming out of the next stage there. Let's try. I think we're probably going to be fine at the... Like I said, just ignore some of the fuzziness here because it has to do with all the crap that's out here on the bench. And I think I'm, you know, when I'm measuring this, I'm also kind of touching other crap. And there's, you know, we've got... Yeah, all of our stuff is just kind of everywhere here. It's not... This isn't ideal. But alright, there's what we got coming out of the second stage. There's the first stage. There's the second one. I don't know why it's being reduced, though. Why would it be reduced? That's looking excellent right there. That's coming out of the first stage on the collector. So why, into the second stage, would we have a much, much reduced... The sustain knob. I've got the sustain knob maybe all the way down or something, don't I? I bet I do. Or I've got it turned partly down. And I don't know which is which here. That'll be the sustain knob right there. So you can see what's going on. What that's doing to the waveform when I turn that. Alright. I've actually got the knob backwards, I think. Or do I? Yeah, I've kind of got the knob backwards. But it doesn't matter, I don't care. So that's what that's looking like coming out of that stage, but we need, that's the one that we're tuning. So what we need to do, that's 68 ohms. If I can clip that on and it'll stay, that'd be good. Okay, there we go. All right. No, see, that's why I've got problems with this. This Decade box is not ideal. I should probably just get some real resistors out here. Okay, that's 330. So we're going up to 2 divisions there. You can see it diminishing. See it getting bigger right there? I have no reason to doubt the 150. My problem is my 100 ohm resistance in this box is kind of iffy. It doesn't always work. I need to get in there and clean I need to clean this and also maybe even replace some of the resistances in here, because that's definitely not ideal. But I'm going to go ahead and, now that I know it works for sure, I'm going to go ahead and put the 150 ohm resistor in there, and then we'll move on down the line. Keep moving.
Clink up, move down, clink up, move down.
All right, so there's that resistor soldered in. Let's go ahead and look at what we need next. So we've got that, we've got that, we've got that. Now we got another 150 ohm coming off of the emitter of the next one down. So let's look at that one now. Make sure, and the reason, the reason for not just soldering all of this in the beginning is just, this is going to give me at least a little bit of flexibility, so that if there are some variations, in some of the components that I've used, I don't have to necessarily rely on the design somebody made 50 years ago, to ensure that I get the best possible tone out of the thing. Okay, power's back on it. We should have, here's what was coming out of the last stage that we looked at. Right there, just to refresh our memory. It's looking really great up to there. Let's look at the base of the next stage. Yeah, that's kind of what we should see there as well. Let me make sure I've got this. The tone is connected to this one. Is that this guy? Okay, I don't know if the tone is doing anything right there right yet. It might not do anything until we get out of that stage. Ooh, that's a funky looking wave, isn't it? I'm not sure about that one. Definitely not sure about that one. That's got some funkiness going on up here. I don't know what's up with that. That just could be because, again, we've got all this crap out here on the desk, and I don't know. This one is very sensitive to different settings. Very sensitive. Okay, now that one's working. You can see that. Look at that wave. Okay. Okay, that one is working, that pot. This one won't work because that's the overall volume. That won't work till we get out. I think that 150 is exactly what we need in that stage. So let's go ahead and wire that one in now. Okay, so I've wired that one in now. Let's get some power back on it again. The next one we need to do, well, we've got 2 more. Tell you what I want to do. This is calling for R7 up here. This is part of a... This sets the base voltage, or the voltage for the base of this final transistor. This is one of two resistors, actually, that sets that voltage. It's calling for a 430K. I don't have a 430K, so probably what I'm going to do is go with a... probably go with a 470K, and then I will use R4 to bias accordingly. Okay, so I got that 430K R7 wired in. I actually used two 220Ks for 440K, close enough. Now we'll go to the R4, which is supposed to be a 3.3K, so we'll kind of start right there around that figure, 3.3K. Okay, that wave has cleaned up right there significantly. See how much that's cleaned up since we got that other stuff wired in. I think that probably had a lot to do with it. And here's what's coming out. And again, you know, it's going to be very fuzzy because we've got just a lot of other stuff going on here. But we should at least be able to test. There we go. Well, maybe. Look at how that wave starts to get chopped off right there. That's interesting. See, did you see it get chopped off here at the bottom? That's at 1.5 right there. Whoa. Look at that. That's strange right there. Check that out. How it goes inverted. Right there from between 2.2K. See this bottom part of this wave here? It's like it goes inverted. But actually between 3.3 and 2.2 it does take a notch up, doesn't it? I think I might go with a 2.2 right there rather than a 3.3. Just make sure that that's what I want to do. I do believe that is what I'm going to do. This one should be the tone right here. I'm going to go with 2.2 because that right there is that's a really good looking sawtooth on that. So check that out. It's a pretty good looking wave right there. All right, so I think that is going to get us where we want to be. Let's get that 2.2K in there. So just to make a note, R4 I've changed to it from a 3.3 to a 2.2. That's the tone. That seems to be working as well. You can see right there where it kind of crosses over. Gives you two different types of waveform. Right in here, it's that switch over is where you get some really funky, cool guitar tones right in that change right there. And this one as well. That's looking pretty damn good. I think we're good with this. Let's wire up the power supply. We'll get the power supply all wired up, and then we will have this thing pretty much done. I actually used the exact type of diodes that were used in the example that I have. They are, I think they're 4148s. Those little blue diodes right there. See another pair of them back there. Okay, so I've gotten to the stage where I've drilled the holes that I need. I've got the power jack installed for this, or I'm in the process of installing it, and I wanted to show you something on the power jacks. If you are familiar with, you know, making pedals, you could probably just skip this part. This is not for you, but if you're a newbie to making pedals, you will probably want to pay attention to this part. So this power jack is a shorting power jack. So that means when nothing is plugged into it, the positives, there are two of these leads that are positive, this one and this one, and they are connected internally when nothing is plugged into this, okay? When something is plugged into this, one of these gets disconnected. I'm not sure which one it is offhand. I'll have to test them here, and I'll show you how to do that too. This one is the negative. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook our battery terminal, this incidentally came out of whatever this thing was. I don't even know what it was. It was some kind of weird thing, but anyway, I got a free battery terminal in there with it. So we're going to hook this up. The negative will go to the negative terminal right here. That's this one. And that's going to be, because we're going to make this a negative center. So that center tip will be negative. And that's just kind of keeping in line with most of like Boss and Ibanez pedals and stuff like that. Most of that stuff is negative center, so that's what, or negative tip, however you want to say it. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to do a negative tip. So we're going negative here, positive and positive here. But I'll show you exactly how we're going to do this. I might even put sort of a sketch or schematic up on the screen so you can see a little bit from a different view what's going on here. I want to hook up my meter on the two leads that are shorted internally, and we are going to use as our positives. That one and this one. And that shows you that they're shorted right there. Got a bunch of these little jacks right here. One of these will be the right one. Probably that one. Okay, see there how it's gone open as soon as I plug that in? Let's do that again. See? Now that's closed. And as soon as you plug something in, it goes open. So we want to figure out which one is which, because like I said, I'm not really sure. So I'm going to take this jack, I'm going to plug it in here. We'll leave it on one of these. We'll take the other one off, and I'll see if either of these are shorted. No, they're not. Okay, so what that tells me is that the one that I'm currently hooked onto down here, that one is the one we want to put our battery terminal on. So that's the outside one we want to put our battery terminal on. And the reason is we want the battery to be completely disconnected from the power if we plug something into this power. So that's how that will work. All right, man, this thing sounds pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. Now let's pick some knobs for it. I think I'd like something probably big and oversized. I do have to have something though that has set screws, at least for the side ones. But I'm thinking, you know, something kind of just something oversized would be kind of cool. I think that could be really cool. That's a stereo knob. I like that, but I don't know if I have anything with set screws that will you know, sort of match that for the side. It doesn't have to match perfectly, but it would be cool if I could find something that was at least in keeping with the aesthetic. This could be pretty cool too. This is off of an old record player. Ooh, I like that. It's got like a spaceship feel or something, doesn't it? I like that. I'm gonna keep that one for now. Ooh, and how about these two big ass red ones for the sides? That could be kind of cool if they'll even turn. No, they won't even turn all the way. They're so big. They won't work. Oh, that's kind of a shame. It could work though on the top. One of them could. That could work. It's kind of got a look, doesn't it? That could be the one I use. I've also got this black one. It's kind of the same thing, but in black. And I got tons of knobs. This isn't the only ones I've got. I have a bunch of really old ones from radios and stuff that we could dig out. I've got it in white also. And I've got that big thing. So we could do it in white, we could do it in red, or the black. I like the red out of the three of those, I think. Yeah, this is down to the aesthetics stage. I like the red out of those three for sure. Because it just has, I don't know, it sticks out against the aluminum. This one might be cool. That one there looks pretty darn cool too. I like that also. And I also did kind of like that one. That's got a funky look to it. I think for me it's down to, that's a decent one, but I think for me it's down to this guy or the red one. Yeah, it's either this one or this one. I think I really like that. It just looks, so 70s. Or really it's from the 50s, that knob is, but it just looks, I don't know, it's just got something. It's a vintagey vibe. I like it. I think I'm going to stick with that. And then for these, I'm not that fussed about. They're going to be on the side, so. But it has to be, like I said, something that's a set screw. I think I want it so that the line is pointing up when it's turned all the way up. Alright, there it is. I think that's what I'm going to go with right there.